Welcome to the Spotlight. Welcome to your show. Welcome to my show. Welcome to the show that brings us together to have an interaction, okay, on our environment and everything that goes with it. Welcome to our show. Like we started, we've been doing climate change and global warming. We have been talking about how it all comes, how it all began. And we have spoken about the definitions, and we have indeed gotten to the causes of climate change. We've spoken much. Now, today, we are going to do the mitigating efforts, okay? But today's video is primarily on the issues of policy on the governmental level, so governmental policy. And a very important engagement happened just last week, and I'm here to give you a breakdown to that. So welcome to the show. That's the gist within my introduction. If this is the first time of watching our videos, you're welcome to this beautiful page where we talk everything environment, we talk everything that will help us to have human sustainability on this surface of the earth. So welcome to our show. Welcome. If it's your first time, please, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to this page. But don't forget to give me a like on this video. Like it. Even if, I don't know whether you have watched the entire videos or not, just give me a like on this video and let me know that you have also watched our videos. Thank you so much. Now, let's zoom straight to our spotlight for today. Now, our spotlight of today, as I made mention earlier, it's about the solutions or the mitigating efforts we all have to put in place to curb climate change or global warming. Yes, that's a real fact. So, now, like I said, we are going to focus on governmental policy initiatives in Africa. And by this, we want to go straight to the Kenyatta International Convention Center. This is in Nairobi, Kenya. From the 4th to the 6th of September, it was a big event, well-attended Africa Climate Summit. That was the event, Africa Climate Summit. It was so beautiful. It was an event that was a brainchild of Kenyan President Ruto. Okay, and he invited all those who wanted to be involved in it. And when we get to the breakdowns, we'll talk about how, African leaders, I'm going to say, send a Bible kind, say, who trade Yaswa by the scent of water, it started to rise again. African leaders, by the scent of money, they want to do something. But it wasn't a bad event. No. I'm not saying that it was a bad event. The event was very, very important because it was the African perspective to global warming. How Africans want to unite to build consensus towards the COP28. COP28, when we talk about COP28, we are talking about the Conference of Parties of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. We call it COP28. It is expected to be held in Dubai, UAE, from the 30th of November to the 12th of December this year. Yeben or a Dubai Expo City. And that place is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I hope as we are giving this information, you also prepare to go. And then we all meet over there. And then we have an interview and we talk. Okay, so we'll meet in Dubai. But on today's issue, we are going to talk about the Africa Climate Summit, which was under the theme Global Leaders Place Africa at Heart of Fight Against Climate Change. And it was indeed a very important event. All those concerned came. UN General Secretary came. Yes. Antonio Guterres, he was there. The president of Kenya, of course, he hosted it. He was there. The president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, he was there. All those you want to mention. In fact, our own President Nana Addo Dankwa Akuffo-Addo, His Excellency, he was also there with the Ghanaian team. And in fact, it was an event purpose for the future of Africa as far as global warming and climate change is concerned. Okay, now I want to give some quotations with respect to the world leaders that went there. Some few ones. I want us to just make a digestion of it whilst we move on. Nina koko jina say Africa for you say global warming no higher. Yeni ho anwoden, yeni ho nimdie. Eni nti African penifo nyina kokohia e Kenya. Na mo hwe on toto adwen ehu kwan abefa so abeden ebetumi aboa ya ho na etumi asoretia global warming and say climate change ekoso a ha adwen no. Sana utie ye previous videos na ye kire say climate change hanyam no bebre. And African penifo will say embrace so mo say me dey omoye bibi fa ho. And that is all about. Now the UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres, he said something. He said, the world is in a climate emergency. Code red for humanity. Now, listen to it very well. The world is in climate emergency. Until we see baby no, there were emergency situation. Until he said, who are they kokoa? Nipa, there's a survivor on we see and the dial. So she said, ya sure you ye, nasa environment in a climate change in yoma, esaya, ye nipa no, and yasitana. This is what the man was trying to say. Now, President Ruto, that is the president of Kenya, he also said something. He said, Africa must step forward as the cornerstone around which effective climate solutions are built. Africa for or some pempens way, it two and more year. You between you didn't come on here, cornerstone, be answer a bobia. And that's why bibia yede beye ma climate change betumi aye adwuma no ye betumi afa Africa for sir, if you say Africa and most of the mineral resources here ye too free bobodin, uranium, gold, bauxite, manganese, diamonds, bobo bikao ni nyina dodo na free Africa. And African penifo no my imagine say and no na say omu depend on it no mu dey den e develop But no crampon as a business and say it is really true. Are they developing the countries they are taking all these mineral resources from? Ghana, a classic example. And gold are ye 222, diamonds are ye 222, bauxite ye 222, manganese ye 222, ye 2 bibia obakabia. Oil ye 222. Then asesa ewa ya brabo. Then asesa ewa sitinem. Loans no so a mampany for Komokwa and some Kojiska, Sikaya Maji. And it is here no, Uman will say the Bieco no. But another Yabakasa. Because what we want to focus on is the speech His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akuffo-Addo gave. President Akuffo-Addo spoke for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. He touched on illegal mining, and I said galamsey for only 10 seconds. And we want to break down in this video. Don't go. Just stay tuned with us. For 10 minutes, for 5 minutes, I hear the map President Akuffo-Addo Kasa. Only 10 seconds on Okasafa illegal mining. So join us. Let's go. If you have just joined me, just watch this video and like this video for me. Don't watch it and then leave. No. Immediately you watch, you start watching. No, like it till you are moving out. Okay. Thank you so much for liking our videos. Now, the president of the African Development Bank, his name is Akuffo-Addo. He's a Nigerian. He is the president of the African Development Bank. He was also there, okay? And he said something. He said, Africa cannot be nature rich and cash poor. Listen to it very well. Very profound. Africa cannot be nature rich and cash poor. Nature say, abrabasitire mu ni nyoma nyankopon bo ma yen no Africa de yentumi yese ye woni nyina nanso aba ni sikasam dia na ye hiafo asambisa na asama so wotina wo na wodwen adinti na ewo bibia nanso Africa mama ewo Africa nyina ye hiafo asambisa ne hia pa yento aso ono aso sa papa na asan ka bibi o say the global Africa or his bank, and African Development Bank, and their Global Center on Adaptation had launched the African Adaptation Acceleration Program, AAAP, the largest such initiative in the world. This is why African Development Bank has committed to provide $25 billion towards climate financing by 2025. So it is as I say, African penny for muti say, Sika will be an obia person call, and on African Ashasi. But what they be draw time in intimate person break it be down. Now, do you know that we have the Global Climate Fund? Yes, we do have the Global Climate Fund. That is accruing over $45 billion, and they are giving it to over 140 countries. Now, African countries sat down realizing that if we don't put our house in order, we might not have the opportunity of accessing some of these monies. And then let's sit down, make our program, plan it, and then get whatever we need to get. And then you realize that some of the speeches from the president, were geared towards how they can also assess the financing. In fact, the President Akuffo-Addo, because I put there, or say they should have an accelerated means with which they can access the global fund, the global climate fund.
Whilst we strive to do our bit to halt climate change at the national level, we expect also a lot to be done at the international level. One major issue of concern to us is the need to streamline access to international climate finance to complement national funding.
Don't worry about that, because let me give you this quotation. President Ruto said this. He said, climate action is not a global north issue or a global south issue. It is our collective challenge, and it affects all of us. We need to come together to find common global solutions to it, which is a very profound quotation. And indeed, I like it when they speak like this. It is so good. So for me and the entire team, we commend them for the bold initiatives they have done. Of course, it is so good. And we will also commend countries that have also committed themselves to reducing global warming and climate change in their various countries. Now, at the end of the conference or the summit, they came out with a Nairobi Declaration. You remember there is one, it was held in Paris, that was in 1999, very long time ago. And they have built on with different declarations upon declarations upon declarations. And I drew the Nairobi Declaration. They want this to be a global declaration. So they came together, African leaders came together with the youth of Africa and all environmental, advocates. They all came together, and then they came out with these declarations. And I'm going to use this medium to just espouse all that was discussed as a declaration. Now, it said African leaders are calling for urgent action by developed countries to reduce carbon emissions. Now, the understanding is that the developed countries, and I say countries are they are the ones that are pollutant, and it is true. Africa will also contribute, but those in the northern hemisphere, the Americans, the Chinese, the Russians, the European countries, so they have to do something to reduce their carbon emissions. Now, if you watch our previous videos on climate change and global warming, you understand the emissions now. You can't want some. Now, the issue here is this. I can say this, yes, because in 2019, I was in London, and as of that time, in April, the city of London has promulgated a new law. The law is called the Ultra Low Emission Zones. It is what they will call London City ankasa. That's a car no a carbon free a wuse na free carbon mobano. Say wuse mu dua. People are there. They charge around £12.50. £12.50. And there were some, in fact, let me read some the issues that were surrounding. They said most vehicles, including cars, vans, need to meet the ultra low emission zone emission standards, or their drivers must pay a daily charge drive within the zone, and they have to pay between £12.50 for most vehicle types, including cars, motorbikes, vans, up to and including 3.5 tons cars. £100 for heavy vehicles, including lorries over 3.5 tons and above. So buses and what have you, they were all part of the people who were charged the ULEZ, better still, ultra low emission zone Uduhoa Central Business District in London. You have to pay that. So with the Westerners, they've already started working on reducing the carbon emissions. So Africa proposal number 1 was to make sure that the developed countries reduce it. Now, proposal number 2, or better still, the declaration number 2, they said they proposed a new financing mechanism to restructure Africa's crippling debts and unlock climate funding. Now, wait, me encheche wim kakra. Tie. Or say, omo propose a new financing mechanism. Listen, they went there purposely for the climate too. But because of a cow, the Western countries, Euro bonds, ni loans, ni no be blow my no per coin by professor be saying, you be trust our debt no. No must say it be the climate fund, like I mentioned to you, the global climate fund, accrued over whatever. I mentioned about $48 billion. I mentioned earlier on. They want to unlock it so that they can also access them as funding to their various countries. No wonder President Akuffo-Addo, you drew over to say, we recruit over 20,000 young people in India or Ghana. That one is not true. President Akuffo-Addo, this one, I haven't come to the breakdown of your information. But the reality is that on every Green Ghana Day, people volunteer to plant trees. You have not recruited any 200,000 or whichever people. Please, President, this one, you were economical with the truth. You will get there. All right, so let's continue. The third point, the third convention, or better said, the third declaration is decarbonizing the global economy for equality and shared prosperity, which is, of course, you come and take so much from Africa, and then you go and use, and then you bring it back to us. So we need to find a way of reducing the carbon content that goes into the open atmosphere. Okay? Whilst you also help us to have an equality or shared prosperity. You get a drift. It's also nice. Okay. Declaration 4 is that to promote the sustainable use of Africa's natural assets for the continent's transition to low carbon development and contribution to global decarbonization. Now, what they were trying to say is that Africa, I had all the natural assets in here free into two corner. Now we'll transition some of the number power. You pick the good things, and you also come to help the Africa countries, to also enjoy, whilst you reduce your carbon content. It's a good way of negotiating. It's a nice platform. And then lastly, they said this. They said a comprehensive and a systematic response to the incipient debt crisis outside default framework to create the fiscal space that all developing countries need to finance development and climate action. Now wait, this one. You see what the African leaders were trying to say? They were trying to say that in our future borrowing, that is the incipient debt, they have not taken any debt from you. But they are saying that let's create a comprehensive system of response to our future debt we will come and take from you, based on you clearing all that we owe you now. When they say they want to create a fiscal space, that means if there's a bucket, to create that fiscal space, bucket empty. In other words, it's strange that we create a framework to have a fiscal space that all developing countries, so Africa, we are a developing continent. So all developing countries within Africa need to finance development. Answer climate action at the account. You see the wise way of they say African leaders, they are like a tree. When you cut it off with a scent of water, they will germinate again. They want money. And for me, if you get the money and you put it to good and judicious use, it is okay. Everybody will be happy. But why don't you put it to good and judicious use? That is our problem. Africa. That is our problem. And it's a problem with leadership.